Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Today's video will be on solving simultaneous equations using graph. So let's do a bit of introduction. So we have done simultaneous equations and we have learned that simultaneous equation can be solved using substitution method or the elimination method. However, there is also a third method to solve simultaneous equation, which is by using graph. Right. So we have done this before, but maybe this is more a video which you can understand it hopefully in more detail. So example, we have a simultaneous equation y equals to x plus 2 and y equals to 3 minus 2x. So we are supposed to solve it simultaneously, but instead of using substitution and elimination, we want to do it by graph. Now, how is this possible? This is very possible because if you remember your graph, so let me just draw a graph. So graphs have two axes, x and y axis. It means it has two unknowns. And if you look at your simultaneous equation, you have two unknowns, x and y. Therefore, we can just use a graph to solve simultaneous equations because it is possible using these two equations to draw two graphs. Okay, so just let me undo for a while. So what's the method of solving the graph using simultaneous equation? Basically, I'm just going to draw a rough one for you. When you have two axes, you can get two lines, and these two lines are your two graphs and your two equations. They will meet somewhere. So the point where they meet, that is your solution for your x and y. So instead of doing a long calculation, we just draw a graph to see where they meet. Okay, so now let's try to do this particular question. So first equation, y equals to x plus 2. So as per usual, if you want to draw a graph, you'll need a table. So let's say our table is, we'll take 4 values. Let's say negative 2, 0, 2, and 4. So if you fill it up, we will get negative 2 plus 2 is 0, 0 plus 2 is 2, 2 plus 2 is 4, 4 plus 2 is 6. Right. And we can do this. Then what do? We plot our graph. So of course, the plotting of the graph is using a graph paper, not freehand. All right. So one moment. So we have only a bit of negative, therefore the line will shift here. So we have, let's say, negative 2, 2, 4, 6, 6, 4, 2, 0, negative 2. Right. So we have, let's do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And negative, we will need up to 2, 3, 4, 5, negative 5. Right. So let's plot our first line. Using the black color. Okay, negative 2, 0, 0, 2, 2, 4, and 4, 6. All right, so roughly we will get a straight line. And of course, as per usual, label it x plus 2. Okay, so now that we have our first line, this is a normal graph drawing question, and it's not a quadratic graph, it's a straight line graph because there's no x squared. So to solve it, this is just like normal graph, but to solve it, we will have two graphs in one graph paper. So same thing for the second equation, you draw another box, another table. So we'll use -2, 0, 2, 4 also. So what we'll get? -2, so 3 plus 4 is 7. 3, 3 minus 4, -1. 3 minus 8, -5. Okay, so same thing. We'll plot it -2, 7. Roughly here. 0, 3. 2, -1. And 4, -5. Okay, so if we draw a straight line, it will be around here. Okay. So again, mine is just a rough one. It's not exact, huh? Around here. Okay. And of course, label y equals to 3 minus 2x. All right. So once to solve simultaneous equation using graph, once you have your graph, all you have to do is find the point of intersection. In other words, the place where the two graph meets. Go to your x, find your answer, and then go to your y and find your answer. So what is the answer? All right, so I'm just gonna rewrite this again. So if you draw it carefully and accurately, you will get the answer to be 1, x equals to 1. And if you did the y will be when x equals to 1, the y is equals to, no, sorry. Okay, so let me just calculate this for a while. All right, as you can see from the values in the screen, you should get around x is 0.3 and y is 2.3. All right, so that is how you find your answer using graph. So this is the basics of using simultaneous equations to solve graph. Now, what is the purpose, you might say, is the purpose is, of course, the answer is not that accurate. The exact answer for x is 1 over 3, which is 0.33333, and the answer for y is 2 whole 1 over 3, which is 2.33333. However, graph makes it easier in the event that your two simultaneous equation is not a straight line. All right, so this is the basic concept of simultaneous equation. So now I'm going to go on to quadratic equations. Okay, so what happens is, when we get a quadratic equation question or graph, we can also solve two equations which are quadratic. So let's say y equals to x squared plus 3. And I have another equation, y equals to 2x plus 4. Okay, example, or 2x plus 5. Okay. Okay, so what happens is we can, even though this is quadratic and it's not, you have not learned how to solve quadratic simultaneous equations, but what we can do is to solve these kind of equations, we can actually use the graph. Okay, so how do we use the graph? Same thing. So equation 1, draw a table, and you get the answer. So I'm just going to draw a bit more values here, maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 values. Because it's a quadratic, so it's an x squared, you need more numbers. So let's say -4, -2, 0, 2, 4, and 6. And we do the same for equation 2 as well. What numbers? It can be any numbers because this is a straight line. So I'm just going to take roughly 1, 2, 3, 4 numbers, but it should be around the same range. So let's say -4, 0, 2, and 4. All right, so let's fill up the tables. This will be 5, 2, 4, 9, 13, negative, -3. Mhm. Okay. Then over here we'll have 3 here. 2 squared is 4, 4 plus 3, 7. Mm, okay. I'm not gonna use this because it's quite big and it's very hard to draw. 7 and 19. All right, so now we can draw a graph. Again, this is a graph paper, not a sketch. So one more time, it has to be more positive. So pause the recording for a while I draw. All right, so now here you can see that both the graphs have been drawn. Drawing of graphs, I do not need to go through because inshallah most of you know how to do it. So once we have our two graphs, so the reason why we have to learn how to do simultaneous equation using graph is because if it's quadratic, like mentioned before, you cannot solve it by substitution or elimination because you have not learned how to do it yet. So the only solution that you know is to use a graph. So here we have our curve graph, x squared plus 3, and our straight graph, 2x plus 5. So to solve it, all you have to do is look at the point of intersection. So of course now we have more than one point of intersection because it's a quadratic graph. So you have two answers. So if you read out the answer numbers, you get about 2.8 and negative 0.7. Okay, so are you all clear? Hopefully up to here you are clear. If you're not clear, please rewind back the video and look back at how to solve. So we have our two solutions, x equals to 2.8 and or x equals to negative 0.7. Okay, so of course, in a quadratic graph, in a simultaneous equation, you have two answers, x and y. Can you read the y value? Yes, you can read the y value here and the y value here. However, we are not going to read the y value for this question. Why? All right, so now I'm going to type for you what the O-level question is like. So this is what the O-level question is like. So the O-level question will ask you to solve. Okay, one moment. Let me just write it down first. So the question is, solve the equation x squared plus 3 equals to 2x plus 5. All right. Or rather, more detailed, the question will be use the graph to solve. Okay. So this question is the one that you have seen before in your exam paper for a quadratic graph question. So what happens is when you have a graph question, they will ask you to draw the graph, and after that they will ask you to solve. So I want you to notice that actually these are two separate equations. Okay, one moment, give me a moment to change color. All right, this is written as one equation, but this is actually our two separate equations where we have y equals to x squared plus 3 and we have y equals to 2x plus 5. So even though they ask you to solve one equation, which is x squared plus 3 equals to 2x plus 5, you can actually split them up into two equations and solve them simultaneously by using your graph. So this is actually a simultaneous equation question. So how do you do it? As we have done before, plot the tables for both graph, or if you already have one of the graphs, so you just need to draw one more graph, plot it, and then you can solve it. So why do we only need x, not y? The reason why we only need the x value and not the y value is because of the equation. So let's look at the equation. The equation only mentions 2x plus 5 and x squared plus 3. The question did not mention any y. The y for the graph was put in by you yourself. Therefore, when they ask for the solution, you only need to read the x. Yes, you can read the y, but it's not needed because this question only asks for the x. So I hope this video is clear. You understand more detail on why or how and why we use graphs to solve simultaneous equation. So that's all for now. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.